Back to Studio 550 in the Martin Kilcoyne Show. Here's Martin along with Randy Naughton on KT.
No, never mind. Never mind. All right, lemon pipers.
Oh, that's you're good.
Green
You're good.
tambourine. You see what I'm saying? Back with you, KTRS, Martin, Randy, and we have two lemons, no waiting today. Seth Lemon, the new guy at Fox 2 in the house. Seth, welcome to KTRS. This is crazy, but we have never met.
Never.
And you've worked at Channel 2 how long?
2 months this week.
2 months, and we've
Aww.
never met.
I see you every morning, though.
Well,
Isn't
you
that
do the
crazy?
TKO on the 4
Right.
a.m. Seth anchors the 4 a.m. Fox 2 News with Lisa Hart, and then we run the TKO with you every day.
Can I tell you something about the TKO, which runs at 10:25 at night, and then it replays in the 4 a.m.? I have to tape a little tease. So right before sports, we're in the commercial, and I have to think, like, real quick, say something about why you should stay tuned. And every night I'll say, and that's coming up, and Dave Murray always goes, that'll get me to watch. Every night he says the same thing. Well, Seth, welcome. Where are you from? Where's home? Where'd you go to school? Read your bio.
Born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Steeler country. Big fan. Grew up in D.C., right outside of, in the Maryland area, right outside the city. Went to school there, stuck around, and studied journalism at Howard University, the Howard University.
The Howard University.
You'll notice the cup sometimes on the desk in the mornings. And got bit by the journalism bug very early on in high school. Knew exactly what I wanted to do.
I must say, in observing you in the newsroom, you are a news hound. You are always in the wires and always reading the wires and looking at the scripts and tapping away. And, meanwhile, we're all just tweeting our coffee
Right.
cup. And I'm like, dang, this kid's serious.
Yeah, you guys got recipes for lunch.
Exactly.
So who was the guy or gal on TV? Was it, Tom Brokaw? You're a really young guy, so I can't go too far back with my references here.
I've got to say Jim Vance. He's a legend there in D.C. He's been on the air about 45 years, I think, right now at WRC. And I was fortunate enough in school to intern at the NBC station there and then started working on air as soon as I got out of school, and had a chance to work with the man I had been watching all my life and had looked up to so much.
And
Who gets to do that, right?
Well, Randy, you get to work with
Well,
me.
I was going to say, my
Of
dream
course.
is dying on the vine every day at this
And when
hour.
you're in D.C. as a kid, high school, you're immersed in politics. So were you drawn
Absolutely.
to that part of it too?
Yeah, I politics, it's such a stronghold in D.C. Everybody works in it. Everybody's parent works for the federal government somehow. So you're very plugged and tapped in just by the nature of the environment. But politics never particularly piqued my interest. I think it was just news in general, just being informed and knowing at least a little bit about everything.
Yeah, I used to call it being nosy. That was me way
Yeah,
back in the
that's
day,
right.
too.
A
I kind
professor
of like
said
it.
that.
But, you wouldn't be a true lemon if you didn't do some name dropping, because that's what Don does. And I know you've worked with some really big names in the business, even at your young age.
Yes.
Tell us who you've worked with and interned with and where.
Honestly, I've gotten a chance to bounce around a lot of the networks. I did my first internship at CNN, and that's when I first met Don, working with Wolf Blitzer at the Situation Room. Still a great friend
You
of
call
mine.
him Wolf or you call him Mr. Blitzer when you're an intern,
Just
Mr.
Wolf.
Blitzer sounds like a drink you'd order at happy hour.
Honestly,
Mr. Blitzer.
one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. So down to earth. And from there, I got to go and intern at ABC News, met Diane Sawyer.
Listen to this.
I love Diane Sawyer.
She's incredible. And,
I think there's a little more to it than the news angle, right, Martin?
No, I do.
Your eyes just lit up
no,
a little
she's
bit.
a pretty lady, but she always
Oh, okay. That's what. There we have
and
it.
news value, but also very classy.
Yes.
Very classy lady.
Very.
Because
Yes.
some people in news can be kind of crass or in your face. She just is real
Why are you
classy.
looking at me?
No offense, Randy.
From there, went on to NBC News. They kind of stole me from ABC, and at NBC.
He's done more in his
All right, you know what? Get out.
young
Get out. I don't really
career.
like this guy
I've been
anymore.
doing this longer
I've
than
been
he's been
very
alive.
blessed.
I haven't touched any of that.
And met
So,
a lot of cool people there.
What did you know about St. Louis before you got here? Did you Google it? Had you ever been here?
It's funny. While I was working in Hartford at the NBC station there, I was the breaking news anchor for the morning show. So I spent a lot of time covering Ferguson as that was happening. All the live pictures just streaming in daily. So it felt like I was there.
What a
even though
great
I
introduction
wasn't.
to our town, you know?
Luckily, I knew some people from St. Louis, so I had heard a little bit. I've got to say, though, it wasn't until I actually got here and got to experience the city for myself that my perception about it changed. And it's also helped to do that for a lot of the people that I know now who have really had their perception of St. Louis shaped by that coverage.
And so, what, if anything? I mean, what are some of your favorite things? Now, you've only been here a little while. What
Has he been to Ted Drew's?
Right? Have you been discovering all of this? Do you get the whole where'd you go to high school thing?
I've gotten that question, and I of course I don't really know. I guess
just tell them where you went to high school.
I tell them all the time.
They'll be confused.
Yeah, they will be because it wasn't here. But no, I've been exploring St. Louis. Downtown especially, I've gotten out. I've been eating my way around the city, which is fun. I was at Bailey's Range yesterday and had a nice milkshake. But I've gotten out, ran around Forest Park. There's a lot to do, and that's what I didn't realize the city is as big as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would say it compares a little bit to Pittsburgh. It's still kind of
yes,
the Midwest, like slight Rust Belt theme, but yet kind of in a revival period.
Exactly.
Because Pittsburgh, to me, is one of the most underrated cities.
I love Pittsburgh. It's a beautiful town.
And the thing about D.C., people don't realize, it's really small.
Can you name the three rivers in Pittsburgh, Martin? Go. Don't tell them so.
The Allegheny.
Uh-huh.
The Ohio.
Uh-huh. 2 out of 3.
And then, the Muskogee.
No, the Monongahela. Very nicely done.
That was close enough.
You were close.
Beautiful city.
I'm impressed.
So when you grow up in D.C., do you sightsee because you live there? Or, your friends come to town, we got to go to the monuments. You're like,
As a kid, it was built right into the curriculum. Going to the monuments and all the museums, that was just extracurricular. It was a part of the learning experience, which I think is why D.C. school-wise does so well. A lot of the top schools in the country, public schools, are in the D.C. metropolitan area. And I think it's because of the high value that the area places on education and success. And so that was just embedded in me as a child.
Seth Lemon with us. He is the new guy, Fox 2. You see him in the mornings, early mornings, anchoring, also out.
He's in for Pert's Born with me this week.
Working with Randy, Hazard Pay.
We got, hey, you see what I put up with? First, you guys.
Does Randy have her phone in her hand while she's reading the news, or is it only in the breaks?
It's in between. She's a queen of multitasking, I got to say. Incredible. Oh. You should see her.
It means I'm really smart, Martin. We got to give a shout-out to your grandmother, who I know is listening right now,
Grandma.
right?
She is. She downloaded the app.
She watches Fox 2 streaming online.
She is very tech-savvy for a grandmother. She's young. That's why, though.
I love it. And then she's listening to us. And she's out in Pittsburgh?
No, she's in D.C.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Grandma.
Yeah, we moved to D.C. when I was young, so she's still there working, counting down to retirement. And
wonderful.
What's Grandma? Do you call her anything special? Grandma?
Nader or Nunu? Or...
No. People know her as Miss Cindy, but I call her Grandma.
All right, Miss Cindy. Thanks for listening. Hey, can you hang around for Don Lemon?
Of course.
You guys have met before, so this will be their first
He shadowed
radio.
him for like a week.
Yeah, it's CNN.
2 lemons.
But
Martin Lemon Squares.
I know, but
Lemon Squares.
no, they're not related for people who are confused.
That's the first question,
right?
No
relation.
But you always get that everywhere you go.
It is the first question that I get generally, especially from news people.
All right, and then think about this. We'll ask it when we get to Don as well. The best story you've covered in St. Louis, your favorite story already, and it's only 2 months in, but maybe the worst assignment you've been given, other than filling it with Randy. Seth Lemon hanging with us. Kilcoyne, not until noon. John Carney with me, 12 o'clock hour, Big 550, KTRS. This hour sponsored by Matheny Heating and Cooling.
Live from Studio 550, this is the Martin Kilcoyne Show, along with Randy Naughton. The conversation starts now on KTRS.
All right, this is really confusing. You got Martin, you got Randy.
Yeah.
Don Lemon, friend of the show. Boy, the early days of Don on this station, he was just, some guy. And now, look at him.
He's Don Lemon.
GQ, he's a
Don
brand.
Lemon.
He's a cottage industry. We did this. I mean, no, we all did that. We did it together. It was a team effort.
I don't think Don would feel the same way.
Don, welcome.
Hi, Don.
Randy, you made me. Martin, you had nothing to do with it.
And there's such hostility.
Don and I used to work together on the weekends. That's even before you were there, Martin. So, at Fox 2.
I remember the Powder Blue Mercedes. I was there, and we had Turveys on the green, I think the going away party. So I remember all the important moments. Don and I Cousin John and I worked out at the Brentwood Y, and Don worked out at the Brentwood Y.
Can you believe that?
That Martin worked out? No.
Did I work out at the Brentwood Y? I did.
You did? You don't even remember.
I think I was there with a friend. Where's the Brentwood Y? It's in Brentwood.
It's in Brentwood.
Yeah, it's off Brentwood Boulevard. Easy to get to. Easy to remember.
Where did I work out? I guess I did.
Yeah.
I remember working out at some place near the hospital near a hospital on what's a street that goes next to the park.
Maybe Kings Highway.
Was
down
it
there?
Richmond Heights, maybe Barnes Jewish Hospital, or St. Mary's, perhaps?
Probably somewhere in the West End, Kings Highway.
I can't remember.
Well, this segment is sponsored by Rand McNally, but the reason we bring all this up because Don in studio today is Seth Lemon from Fox 2. How about this, Don?
Oh my gosh!
Say hi to Seth, Don.
Hey, Don.
my brother.
How are you? It's been a while.
I know it's been a long time. It's been years, right?
Yeah, yes.
I mean, we've conversed by email, but not on the phone or in person.
That's pretty funny because when Seth first entered as an employee at Fox 2, Seth, the first question out of everybody, are you related to
I have been living in Don's shadow.
We couldn't even get the question out of our mouth. He'd go, no, I'm not related to Don Lemon.
I mean, of course, it would be an honor, of course.
It would
but
be.
No, I'm not even a lemon. I explained that to Seth a long time ago. I'm not really a lemon. If you read my book, my dad is not lemon. That's my stepdad.
Yeah.
So
okay,
definitely not related.
Don't give it all away because it's on my bookshelf. I've been meaning to read it. Okay,
Yeah, it'll never
don't give
happen.
away
It's a
the
great read.
Don, it'll never happen.
Is it a beach
How are
book?
you, Seth? Congratulations on all your success. And I mean, what were you? You were like, were you an intern?
I was an intern. I was shadowing you at my first internship at CNN back in 2009.
And be honest, Don, are you one of those dudes who abused the interns? Give me some coffee. Don't listen. Nothing to see here. My dry cleaning's down the street. Did you do that?
No, I do not. In fact, as a matter of fact, all the interns are like, it's funny because my interns, they're like, oh, I work for Don Lemon. So they're just like, they just roam around the building like, oh, I work for Don Lemon. I don't have to do anything. And all the other interns are like, why couldn't I intern for you? So I'm actually pretty cool with interns.
Which is surprising because we asked Seth in the previous segment, favorite all-time CNN anchor, and he said Wolf Blitzer. So
Yeah, what's up
really,
with that, Don?
Really
Well, that's my
disappointing.
favorite CNN anchor. I mean, why not? He's freaking Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah, and Don brought Wolf cookies and milk one night. True story.
I did.
You
I
told
did. Wolf. We were on. I think we were in like Tampa or somewhere. We're in Florida for, before 2012, and Wolf had been working all day, and they were about to shut the kitchen of the bar, and Wolf has cookies and milk every night. So I was like, hey, before you close the bar, you got to give Wolf some cookies and milk.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy he is. So Don Lemon, Seth Lemon, Martin, I feel kind of left out of this whole Lemon discussion.
Yeah.
But let's talk about tonight. What is on the program? Always making headlines. CNN tonight. What's on the docket?
Rachel Dolezal is not on the docket.
Good.
I'm so tired of talking about her, but she is fascinating. We're talking Donald Trump tonight.
And why wouldn't you? I mean, at least the race is now going to be interesting, and I'm going to say it, humorous.
Randy, were you listening to our editorial call?
I did not know.
That's exactly what we said. At least now there's someone you want to watch. If you listen, I'm not a political person, so I mean, I will vote. I do vote. Many journalists don't vote because they think that you shouldn't have any sort of affinity for any candidate. I do vote. I think it's what you should do as an American, regardless of our occupation. But everybody else. Hillary, her speeches are pretty boring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she talks. And then Jeb Bush, news. Everybody, like you can tell he's reading the teleprompter until he starts to speak Spanish, and then he comes to life. And then everybody else is pretty darn boring. And then Donald Trump gets up yesterday, and he's like, I'm the best at this. I'm going to do this. I'm awesome. I have tons of money. And you're like, yes!
The comedy
finally.
gods have answered some prayers.
I'm thinking as the folks at Saturday Night Live were high-fiving over this and saying Daryl Hammond or whoever brush up on it. But, a big part of being a politician is the fact-checking that comes out later after the speech. How about Donald Trump after he's done? He says crazy. In Mexico, where they're raping people, like, whoa, did he just say that? He just...
We're going to talk about that. But that's not... Listen, do you really think Donald Trump is going to win? Come on.
No.
Will he get votes? Yes.
Randy, that's not what we're saying. We're not saying he's going to win, right? We're just saying it's interesting now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with that part.
CNN in the CNN poll out today about Hillary Clinton. So on that side of it, the Democratic side, it's a much leaner field at this point. But her honesty, trustworthy, these are some of the poll numbers that you can find at CNN.com. 51% in Florida have a negative view of Hillary Clinton. 43%
That's Jeb Bush country.
43% feel she do feel she's trustworthy. But so she's not. She's on the wrong side of 50% on some of these important questions about honesty, integrity, trustworthy. And what about her media relations already? Isn't there a lot of stuff where she's keeping some of the conservative folks away from her campaign? Is she off to a bad start, I guess is the question. She
is damned if she does and damned if she doesn't, because I personally think she's overexposed, right? But I think her people know that, and so that's why they're keeping her at sort of that's one reason, not the only reason. They're keeping her at arm's length because maybe they don't want to have to deal with some of the questions that people are going to ask her, but I just think they know she's overexposed. So, she's not really talking to the media. So that, so I think that's the issue with Hillary Clinton. I actually think her strategy of talking to people is a good one and shouldn't be criticized as much. Yes, she should talk to the media, but she doesn't really owe the media anything. And, the media is complaining because she's not talking to them. Well, too bad. Stop whining. Get over it. So, the other person that we're not talking about that's also interesting and is probably the more exposure he gets, the less he will be liked, I assume, from people in the Midwest, is Chris Christie. Because he's actually interesting. I don't know how interesting he is during, when he's got, a canned speech. But, boy, when he's answering questions.
No, put that man in some coach's pants and tee up the ball. Then we'll be talking about it.
He's like, shut up, you. Don't be stupid. That's a dumb question. I didn't call on you. You're like,
he drops some swear words. Yeah, he's a colorful guy, too. I kind of like it.
Well, he's got the Donald Trump thing going where he's going to be a bit brazen press conference. I think he was more popular a couple of years ago because he was a Republican that was seen as not a hardcore to the right. But the problem with him now is he's become such a almost like a pop culture figure that you don't even hear anymore about his politics, which I think back in the day he was kind of a middle-of-the-road conservative. You think that's fair?
Yeah, but I also think the baseball pants lost it for him. No, I'm not kidding.
Forget Bridgegate. It was the baseball game, right?
No, I mean, all you have to do is put that picture up no matter what, and you're like, oh. Like, don't you want someone saying, Randy, not that. You can't do that. Like, you need a best friend. And it's like, to me, when I saw that picture, it's like everyone around him is either afraid of him or they don't really like him, because I would tell someone I like, you should not do that.
Well, there's so many politicians have so many sycophants around them that they're not going to say anything. They're afraid. Oh, you look good,
yes
boss.
Men, right.
You look good, boss.
Hey, I know, Martin,
that you, the sycophant. Wow, can you guys let Seth Lemon talk?
I was just going to say, I was going to bring it up right now, but before we let you go, we were going to ask you, Don, what was your favorite / worst thing to cover here in St. Louis? And Seth, even though you've only been here a short time, because you jumped right into breaking news.
My first day, that bomb scare at City Hall had us wall
That
to wall
was your
coverage.
first day. His first day. You were on the air forever.
And was trending in St. Louis. Thanks, St. Louis.
Yeah, we were tweeting up a storm when Seth went on the air. We were.
That's awesome, because that's how you start. I think everywhere I've started, pretty much, I've just kind of jumped right in. There's been some sort of breaking news. I remember when I first started in Chicago, there was the big power outage on the East Coast in 2000. I don't know if you guys remember that, where all the lights went out in the East Coast. So that's great that you did that, Steph.
Yeah, it was day one for him. It seems to be the thing at Fox, too. When somebody new starts, a huge story breaks, and we just throw you right into it. Just get out there.
By fire.
See what you can do.
So, my favorite thing, honestly, was doing St. Louis Most Wanted. I started that franchise there.
Oh, you did, yeah.
And it became really popular because I did Birmingham Most Wanted, and then I came there and I did St. Louis Most Wanted. And I don't think they thought it was going to work, and it actually ended up being a really successful franchise. And we caught a lot of people. And do you remember? I think we helped catch the South Side rapist.
Yes, absolutely.
We turned the heat up on that, and they started looking at that case more. And so that was my favorite thing. I actually got to go to Albuquerque once they caught him, and we got all these great interviews, and we had these great insights. So that was my claim to fame in St. Louis. St. Louis Most Wanted.
I want to know, Don, what advice do you have for Seth Lemon here in the St. Louis market? Just starting out, you being the network veteran and all. What's the best advice you can give young Seth?
Okay, so Seth? So here's what I will tell you. Just like no one believed in me, that no one thought that St. Louis Most Wanted would work. I wasn't even sure, but I had confidence in myself. And I would say to you, just be bold and don't give a you know what, about what people think about you. You don't want to be a jerk. I don't think I was ever
too
a
late.
jerk.
You should have seen this kid.
But there was only one person in the newsroom who I did not really get along with, and that's Susan. And I don't know if she's still there, but it's an honest, God's honest.
Awkward. Are we streaming here in St. Louis? But make friends. The truth is, you should make friends wherever you go.
That's true.
You should make friends wherever you go, but you should also just be bold and just don't worry. Don't take yourself too seriously. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake. Everybody does. And I always tell students, and when I go speak at colleges, is don't worry about being perfect. Everyone wants to be perfect. They want to have a perfect live shot. They want to say everything perfectly. Perfection is boring. Be yourself. If you're perfect on television, that means you're a robot. And who wants to watch a robot? So
I agree with that.
Own your errors and mistakes. Own your flubs and whatever, and just laugh at it, learn, and move on.
Martin's made a career out of it. It's awesome.
Yeah, hey.
That's incredible. Thank you.
I mean, look at me. Everyone's like, what did he say? It's like to become a career. And it's like, I don't really say anything that's any different than anybody else. Well,
Quick favor to ask you, Don. Grandma has been just begging for an autographed copy of Transparent, so we got to get that to her. And she's
I
listening
have
right
one
now.
right here. Does she have a copy? I have one.
She does have a copy, but we'll work it
Can
out.
we get an autograph? We'd like an autograph. We're not selling on the air,
Miss
buddy. We
Cindy
need an
wants
autograph.
it.
Miss Cindy, his grandma, is listening.
And tell Grandma to hold on because there's something else in the works I can't talk about right now.
Ooh, Don Lemon once again dropping the teas.
Is that count as getting lemon there?
I think we got
he
lemon.
didn't mention
Maybe
anybody.
in your city, and I'll come in studio like Seth Lemon. You got
Love
the
it.
better lemon today, but you'll get the second best lemon.
We got lemon squared, and I love it. Love it.
All right, thanks, Don.
Bye, Don. Talk next
Is
week.
that it? You're done with me? You're just going to brush me off like an old...
There's a new lemon in
There's
town,
a new
honey. We got to go.
Bye, kids. Have fun. Good
Bye,
luck,
Don.
Seth.
There's
See ya.
a new lemon in town. He's trying to sell your grandma book. Oh, yeah, I got some over here. You go to Amazon. No.
Was he really going to sell it?
But he's like, does she have a copy? The point was he needs an autographed copy.
We will hook Miss Cindy up. We'll make sure of it.
I forgot all about that. Day one, Seth is at City Hall, and we're going nuts here at the radio station. Oh, my God, a bomb threat at City Hall. Who's down there for Fox 2? And they said, Seth Lemon. Everybody said, who's that? The new guy's covering the bomb threat?
Oh, yeah. And he was on. You didn't get home till like 2 or 3 in the afternoon your very first day, and that's horrible.
It was heaven for me.
It was heaven?
It was.
Oh.
Covering the
Love
big
that
stuff.
Oh, here we go.
Well, Seth, great to meet you. Welcome to St. Louis belatedly. I'll never see you in the hallway, but every once in
Not
a while.
at that hour.
I'm there in the mornings every once in a while.
Once in a while.
I come by and check up on everybody.
Yeah. No.
In
no,
my supervisory role for Spencer. Well, Seth, thanks so much, and say bye to Grandma.
Thanks for tuning in, Grandma. I love you so much, and thanks for everybody just welcoming me to St. Louis.
We'll take care of him, Miss Cindy. We promise.
You'll see Seth on the air tomorrow morning with Randy.